In the United States, the situation with immigrants is getting worse. They are hired for low-paying jobs and their culture is enjoyed, yet they are not treated well, almost like work puppets. New rules are discussed daily to address this issue. At a burger place, JP is working the drive-thru. Two rude customers demand things he can't provide and call him racist names. JP insults them back through the speakers, making them leave angrily. Then, a car full of girls arrives, and JP sees his sister Lily. Her friends announce she's going to college soon. When JP gets home, he tells Lily he's proud of her, but will miss her. As they take a picture, JP notices a secret tattoo behind Lily's ear. He agrees not to tell their mom. Later, the family throws a party for Lily, where they have fun, teasing each other with playful insults like dork and loser. Their mom gives a heartfelt speech, but police lights appear outside, and officers arrest the entire family due to Governor Finn's new rule targeting illegal immigrants and their American children for not reporting their parents. Finn's zero-tolerance policy is announced on the news, and the children are put in cages. JP is devastated as Lily is taken away. A few days later, a Homeland Security official tells JP that his mom will be sent back to her home country unless a natural-born citizen claims her. JP can't do it since he's detained, but can join the Elderly American Tolerance and Understanding Project, a community service program at a retirement home, to gain his freedom. JP agrees and is interviewed along with other immigrant kids, who respond with sass and anger. Before heading to the retirement home, Officer Bruce outlines the rules. No outside communication, strict curfew, and wearing ankle monitors at all times to track their movements. Later, they arrive at El Cove, the retirement home, and meet Eddie, the program's founder. He gives a speech about how rewarding the experience will be, but no one takes him seriously. Eddie also introduces them to the operation officers, Cynthia and James. During the tour, JP notices a lady named Greta in a wheelchair holding a lily. At lunch, JP makes friends with the others but complains about the terrible food. Big Mac points out that Micah is white, and she says she's Argentinian. Chris admits he's afraid to touch old people and won't eat anything not made by his mom because of fears of poison. Camila suddenly gets upset, saying the group isn't taking things seriously. She leaves the table as James hands out uniforms and tasks. JP is drawn to Greta again and tries to talk to her, but she doesn't respond. Micah suggests he read to her, so JP grabs a random book and starts reading. Suddenly, Greta says, "You will die here," leaving JP shocked. Greta starts crying and gets louder, so Cynthia rushes in, gives her a shot, and wheels her away. That evening, the group tries to get Chris to eat something, but he refuses, thinking the organizers are watching from behind dark glass. Believing something is wrong, Chris decides to try escaping and ignores the others' warnings. He stands up, tries to open a locked door, and sets off an alarm. Security quickly arrives and tases him, and the others can only watch as Chris is taken away. In the middle of the night, JP leaves his bed to use the restroom and sees an owl at the window. On his way back, he finds an old lady repeating, "Virgil will set you free." The woman suddenly attacks him, but Cynthia arrives just in time, gives her a shot, and takes her away while James scolds JP for being weak. The next day, Eddie takes JP and his friends to another ward with patients in serious condition. He apologizes to JP, explaining that the chaos from the night before was due to someone leaving the ward open, allowing the old lady to sneak out. JP's friends choose to avoid the ward, but JP decides to stay. Eddie orders James to show JP around, but James uses slurs to refer to JP, causing tension. Eddie has to remind them to behave. Later, James and JP put a frail patient to bed. As they approach, a patient in the neighboring bed suddenly bites JP, making him pass out. When JP wakes up, he is in the clinic and is shocked to see Lily working there. She tells him she's closer than he thinks. The room then becomes bloody and changes colors, only for JP to wake up from a nightmare. Micah checks on his wound, and they discuss how the staff treats the elderly poorly. They join the others at lunch and realize they haven't heard from Chris since his escape attempt. When Cynthia walks by, Camila asks about Chris and Cynthia says he was sent back to the detention center. After Cynthia leaves, Big Mac reveals he found Chris's inhaler in the hallway and believes Cynthia is lying because Chris wouldn't go anywhere without it. In the evening, Big Mac takes Greta to Philip's room to keep each other company. While Big Mac tries to connect the TV, Philip's hand suddenly twists into strange angles as Greta watches in fear. The hand drops just as Big Mac turns around. When he gets closer, he notices Philip has stopped breathing, but then Philip wakes up, his body twisting painfully, falling off the bed and moving like a horror movie monster. Philip growls at Big Mac, who runs away in terror. The next day, Philip's dead body is taken away. Eddie tells everyone they don't know what happened to Philip but will investigate. Big Mac tells his friends what he saw. Eddie then takes James and JP to the garden to introduce them to his owl, Virgil. Eddie explains that Virgil is the gatekeeper of a alcove and sees everything that happens. He points out the tension between James and JP and asks them to hug it out. The guys hug tightly but whisper insults and don't forgive each other. Afterward, JP reveals he used the hug to steal James's key. That night, JP unlocks his ankle monitor and does the same for the others so they can sneak out. They go to the pool, where JP and Micah flirt and share a kiss. They decide to sneak into a room and take things further. The next morning, JP wakes up to find an old lady next to him and screams, but it turns out to be a prank from Micah. After putting their ankle monitors back on, they return to work. JP shares the adventure with Big Mac and notices Greta playing with a paper game. He mentions that Lily used to make those and wonders if Greta has met Lily, but Greta only responds by giving him the paper game. When JP grabs it, Greta holds his hand tightly until Cynthia and James arrive to give her a shot and take her away. JP returns to his friends and sees a mark on Camila's neck, realizing they've been drugged, which confirms Chris's suspicions. That night, he finds the hidden message help in the paper game and sneaks into the other ward. He discovers Greta asleep and heavily drugged and overhears James and Cynthia increasing her dose. JP finds Lily's tattoo on Greta and realizes Greta has been Lily all along. Horrified, JP runs out but is punched by James. The next day, Big Mac, Camila, and Micah investigate JP's disappearance. Camila distracts James while Big Mac and Micah unlock his office drawers, finding blueprints for a strange machine and a file saying Chris is in solitary. James returns, so they hide and escape when he leaves. James then orders Big Mac to fix the vent screws. While Big Mac is on a ladder, a patient attacks Cynthia, and Bruce accidentally pushes the man into the ladder, causing Big Mac to fall and break his neck. Cynthia wheels the patient away as Camila and Micah rush to Big Mac. They are taken to the clinic, where they find JP unconscious. Camila and Micah try to escape through the garden, but the guards toss Camila and take her away. JP wakes up in another room where Cynthia and James use a machine to zap him, ignoring his scream. JP finds himself back in the clinic with Micah, who apologizes for their situation. When James arrives to take Micah away, JP grabs the paper game, revealing hidden instructions. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching.